DIY that gorgeous dining room vintage mirror. Here with the details and the DIY instructions is Contractor Chris McGimsie. So we saw it in your dining room. It's a huge mirror. I've had one of those mirrors in my foyer at our first house, and they are stupidly expensive.
Ridiculous expensive.
If you actually go to a store and buy one, how much are we talking about?
Well, that mirror is around 6 feet by 4 feet, and they were in, when I was looking, they were in around the range of like $1,800, $2,000, like
for a mirror.
For a mirror, right? So I said, forget that. I can do this. I can figure it out.
Yes.
And when I was looking online, there wasn't a lot of available information. And what I have to do in my business is people give us ideas, and I have to, make sure all their dreams come true. But I also have to like reverse engineer and figure out how to do it.
Right.
So I figured out how to do it.
So you did it. How much do you think it all cost? But at the end of your DIY,
probably about $500. The glass was $350. Was the most expensive piece.
Way better than $2,000.
Way better than $2,000.
Way better than $2,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you start?
So first of all, you want to pick the, think of the size of mirror that you want. So we wanted a really big mirror, and then I found a glass contractor. So I would mess around cutting glass yourself. Right. Find a guy that cuts the glass. And these tips also apply if you want to make custom picture frames as well.
Okay.
So the glass guys do glass, they do mirror. And I didn't know, but when I went there, he had all these different types of mirror. And I didn't know that you can get antique mirror, vintage mirror, along with just straight clear glass. So we kind of have this like antique vibe.
Yes.
So I thought, I want to get antique glass and make an old frame for it. So we have 3 styles of glass here and a couple different styles of trim. And all these trims you can just get at Home Depot, just regular trim and baseboard. And you can create either like a modern contemporary look, which is straight glass, and a nice frame, or vintage or antique. So our purpose here today, we're going to create kind of like an antique style mirror.
Okay, so why don't you show us what you mean by the antique glass? How is it different than
it's just
another
if
kind
we
of glass?
look at the foiling in the back of it, it has like kind of waving and ripples to it.
Yes. So you can still put on your lipstick, right?
Oh, exactly.
Not that crisp lipstick.
Exactly. But... maybe like not that crisp.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. More of a mood mirror.
It's more mood.
Yeah,
okay.
It's vibey.
All right, got it. So no plucking the chin hairs, ladies, but you can put on your lipstick.
Unless you got lots of light in there.
Got it. Okay, so you picked that you were going to go a little bit vintage.
Get a little vintage. So I had the guy cut the glass. Nice thing is when the guys cut the glass, they actually polish and buff the edges because this stuff is razor sharp. You cut yourself, so don't mess around with cutting the glass. There's no need to it.
Okay.
So anyways, we selected the trim. We're going to go vintage. I use old barn board here. And like anything, we want to be able to cut this into picture frames. We want to have 45-degree angles. I use my chop saw. If you don't have a chop saw, you can use a miter box. These types of corners are called miters.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you guys know that?
Yes.
Miters? Okay.
I don't know a lot about this stuff, but
you
I
can
did
cut
know
it
that.
with a miter box. It's a really cheap, easy thing to do. You can cut the material. So I've measured it all out. I've cut these with my chop saw and miter box. Now all we're going to do is I'm going to glue these pieces together. And I like to use this little cordless nailer. It's a great tool.
That looks
serious. You can use a million things. All-purpose carpenter's glue.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm making my little picture here. We're going to glue this guy up. Some glue on here.
So you're picturing this for a very large piece.
Yeah, this is a scaled down version.
This is a scaled down version of it. And so you have to be thinking about how big you want that trim to be when it's actually on like that, 6x3 or however big it was on the wall. You're ordering this at Home Depot.
Yep.
And then you do the cuts yourself?
I do all the cuts myself. So this is just regular trim and baseboard. So I measure it and I cut it down, and then you can paint it or treat it to any other color. So we painted ours that, brushed brass color that everybody loves.
Yeah.
This one here I'm going to leave au naturel because it's barn board. Looks kind of cool, rustic.
Okay.
People can't get enough of the barn board these days.
That's lovely.
Right?
Yep.
This is actually a cool little mirror. I think I might keep it, actually.
Well, you can always use another mirror, right? This is lovely.
Yeah. This is a great little tool, this little cordless nailer, because sometimes the nailers have like a big cord and a compressor, and that's basically it. And we got to put a back on it. Now, because these small mirrors, I use a small backing. I use masonite, which is really thin, 1/8 material.
Right.
But I also made a mistake when I did this. This is why I love these segments, because I learn from my mistakes. I'm able to teach it. So I put the mirror up, and because of the weight of it, I didn't put a thick enough backing on it. It had a lot of movement to it.
Right.
And it cracked.
It cracked.
Broke.
Where did it crack?
In the top corner, because of the way it's hung.
Too much weight.
Too much weight.
And not enough holding
Too much
it,
weight.
right?
And what do I know about making mirrors?
Yeah, well, here you go. We
There
all
you go.
work together.
And I know now.
So what would you suggest then in terms of having a more weightier back on that?
Use a thicker material. So this stuff here is 3/4 inch masonite. So
Got it.
I've repaired the mirror,
Yeah.
took the whole thing apart, and I
how
put
thick that is?
a thicker material on it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be quite heavy, but it's not going to move. It's be really strong.
Okay, so now you have that really heavy back on it. What are we doing to keep it on the wall?
On the wall.
Right?
Good point. So moving down here, we're going to hang something called a French cleat.
Okay.
You can get these at Home Depot as well.
Yeah.
These are ones that you can buy,
Yeah.
and they're regulated for different sizes and weights.
Okay, I'm just
right?
going to show you how this works. So
Yeah, there's
these,
two ends for it. One
they
goes on the
attach.
wall.
Yep.
These are really common things. So if you have a headboard or a
Yep.
mirror or glass or large pieces of art, this is how you do it.
Got it.
So this one here, and if you don't want to do that, you can make one. I just ripped a 2x4 here on my table saw.
Yeah.
And then one half goes on the wall, one goes on the mirror headboard, bang, right there. It'll never come off the
Oh,
wall.
I see. Yeah, that's heavy duty.
Homemade French cleat.
Really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you get it up on the wall.
Yeah.
And it is, you can tell everybody, look at what I made
Yeah.
for like a fraction of the cost
fraction
of
of
what
the
you can buy in the stores. And as you mentioned, different ways that you can do it. You can go with that vintage great trim, or you can go with this beautiful contemporary one
Yeah.
as well.
Just a high
right,
gloss
if that's more your
black.
style. Very
Very
nice. Thanks to CGA Glass and Mirror for the mirrors and the advice. And thank you, Chris, for
You're
going
welcome.
through all of it for us and then teaching us the right and the wrong. Good
Learn
stuff.
from my mistakes.
Yeah.